Even with what you said, I'd rather not fully risk it. My stream is labeled as adult, but aside from being a small river, was sleepy little town in northern part of Michigan's lower Pennsylvania. Not Pennsylvania. I can't read. Breed board, high schoolers, and board high schoolers love gossip and rumors, even if they're just silly little ghost stories. However, this particular collection of ghost stories would change several of the students of Thread Creek. Yeah, of Thread Creek High School forever. One such student was Lucas Lorange. Loranger? Loranger? Sorry in advance if I butcher a lot of your characters' names. I am terrible at the English language. He was an unassuming senior with little claim to any sort of fame. I'm moving the mouse. That's gonna bug the crap out of me. uh, a sort of fame, hunting. Fame, hunting a fresh rumor. He biked to the river's edge. Lucas learned his bike, or not learned, leaned against his bike. Fucking hell. I'm restarting that whole thing. Lucas leaned his bike against a tree and looked around the surrounding forest gloom. Thread Creek could be heard close by, babbling innocently. Chapter 0, the prologue. A muddy clearing by the river. It looks like this is the place Chris was talking about. Oh, I have it on auto on always run. Do I remember how to menu? Okay. That's not the right button. What is? Now I don't remember the button to sprint. Okay. I figured it out. Most of the rumors we've heard were water related. I guess I should get closer to the riverbank. I think I see the spot ahead where I can reach the water. This seemed less crazy when we were just talking about it. I'm gonna be so tired. I'm gonna be so tired tomorrow. Alrighty, thanks for stopping by, Rewind. It was nice to have you stop by. Luke tried to make out the opposite side. Yeah, tried to make out the opposite side of the riverbank, but it was too dark to see any details. He looked down into the water instead. Looked down in the water instead. It was too dark to make out much more than his own reflection. When that failed to yield any insight, he looked to his surroundings. Maybe I'm supposed to be doing something? I have no idea what, though. I guess I'll give a few more minutes, then head home. The night's breeze rustled the nearby weeds, and the water sheened in the moonlight. A light fog drifted over the river in small patches over the land. Yeah, I'm an idiot. I should just head home. As Lucas turned away from the water, his foot got caught in the muddy ground. Alright, now I have to wash all this mud off before bed. As Lucas lay in the mud, wiping some of the spatter from his face, a feminine voice called faintly out to him. It's dangerous here. You need to leave. Lucas jumped to his feet, startled and unsure of what he had heard. He peered intently into the gloom, but didn't see anyone around. For just moments, Lucas thought he saw colorful lights in the patch of fog closest to him, but he blinked and they were gone. Is someone there? Goosebumps prickled up under the mud. So I should. Oh no, I didn't. I did. Okay, never mind. Yeah, Goosebumps prickled up under the mud on his arms as he strained his ears for a response. I've got myself hearing and seeing things. This place is definitely a little creepy. I can see where the rumors came from. Sorry, Chris. This has been enough adventure for me tonight. Lucas hopped back onto his bike and rode home for the night. After a quick shower, Lucas headed to bed. His sleep was restless, and the next day found him exhausted. After oversleeping, skipping breakfast, and a hurried goodbye to his father, Lucas barely made it to school. Were the bus seats always so comfy? This next scene will have Lucas, or have a discussion to make which will. This next scene will have a discussion to make which will. Oh no. Hi, computer cat. How's it going? How closely aligns with his male or female identity. This will affect Luke's spoken and internal dialogue, and may have story implications as well. There is no wrong choice. There will be 2 more choices during this chapter to further move Lucas towards a feminine side or not. You can see where his identity currently lies in the social status screen. Once the prologue is over, Lucas' identity stat will be settled and cannot be changed further. Consider this determining how Luke was all along, and not a way to change any sort of canon version of Lucas. Luke, hurry up! I'm almost done. Lucas had quickly stripped out of his shorts and onto his swim trunks, eager to jump into the pool. He stopped to look at himself in the mirror. He always swam with his shirt on. Lucas hurriedly threw the bathroom door open in childish excitement. He saw Chris through the sliding glass back doors, already in the pool. He wasn't wearing a shirt. Luke wondered why he felt more comfortable with one for only a second. Yeah, so, computer cat. Yeah, there is a proper reason for that. I don't know if it's in the tags or not. Okay, no, not technically in the tags, or at least not obviously in the tags. But yeah, there is a specific reason for that. Then he ran to join them, sliding the door open, then closed with great effort from his tiny body. Hey, hi, Agrajag? Come on, get in already. Here I come, watch out. Racing to the end of the pool and back. You're on. Luke and Chris lined up together at one end of the pool. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know who or what that is. 3, 2, 1, there you go. They both kick off the edge of the pool. It was close at first, but Chris quickly pulled ahead as Luke's shirt dragged him down. Chris hit the far end of the pool and raced back past Lucas, winning easily. He let out a yell of glee and victory. Oh, okay. Yeah, Hitchhikers is one of the ones where it's like, I've wanted to watch for a while, and I know a few references from it, but I have not seen it myself. The two friends played for hours, simply enjoying the bliss of being kids in a pool on summer vacation. Before they knew it, they had just about turned into prunes as they could hear Luke's dad pull into the driveway to pick him up. They both scrambled up to the edge of the pool and let their legs dangle in the water for a moment, while the adults talked inside. Ah, there was a radio show? Thanks for hanging out. My parents are never home, so I never get to have anyone at home or over. Thank you for letting me in your pool. I had a lot of fun. Lucas started wringing out his shirt. Hey, do you think it's weird that I keep my shirt on? It's a little silly, but I bet you won't get sunburned. Can we swim again tomorrow? No, sorry. Mom and Dad are leaving on another trip tonight. That's okay. We can hang out at my place. Yeah, that sounds good. But hey, it's time to wake up. We're here. Wake up! I mean, I kind of figured as much. Uh, that's often how, like, first time things go. Hey! Dude, wake up. The bus lurched as it came to a stop, and Lucas jerked awake. Good morning, sunshine! Don't you ever get enough sleep? He could have slept 4 hours or 10. He's always the same in the morning. Mornings are rough. Dan sighed while Luke half-heartedly combed his hair with his fingers. Usually remembers how to speak English, though. Sarah hopped energetically from the bus. We can't all be morning people. How do you people function this early? Lucas stepped out of the bus just as the sun stepped out from behind the clouds and blasted everything with bright morning light. He shielded his face from the glare. Oh, he's a vampire. It all makes sense now. Ah, you're that one. Okay. Yeah, I think I remember you in the Amir's Curse server, no? Quiet, you. Lucas rubbed his eyes, and the image of Thread Creek High resolved itself from the glare of his vision. Sorry, reading is kind of a struggle. The larger building was old, and much of it was outdated, but it was decently maintained. It looked down over Lucas as his friends in the morning light. That flows weird. Like a kindly grandfather. Yeah. We're gonna be late if we just stand here all day. Let's go. Probably only gonna stream, like, up to Chapter 1 for now. I'm gonna take a small break so I can eat. Might even do a media share. Well, I might do a media share. I don't have the stuff to properly set that up. But we could probably get away with watching stuff on YouTube for a bit while I nom on some food. A corkboard with various ads and other things pinned it. pinned to it, hung from the wall opposite of the front doors. Featured most prominently on the board was a missing persons poster with a boy's head and shoulders peering out from it. See you later, bro. Try to wake up before the day's over. Lucas waved goodbye to his friends and headed for his locker in the east hallway. Let's go west. I'm kidding. My locker is the first one on the left. This one. Oh yeah, my tail is kind of obscuring it. It's a good thing I'm reading it. Luke stared at the lock as he struggled to remember the combination. As he did almost every morning. He cursed himself, and the lock, and the mornings in general under his breath, as he failed for the 5th time to open his locker. He got it on his 7th try. The locker sprung open, and Luke reached inside. Chris appeared to his right, silent as a ghost. Morning, Luke. Startled, Luke turned his head as his hands continued to fumble within his locker. Oh, good morning, Chris. I can never hear you coming. That's because you're a zombie any time before 3. And because I'm so sneaky. Luke laughed, still going through the contents of his locker. You're really creepy sometimes, you know that? I can't help it. I can't help it that I'm light-footed. Luke becomes frustrated with the fruitlessness of his locker. Spelunking? Yeah, okay. But you sure do love taking advantage of it to annoy me. Yeah, well, it's fun. Also, I bet whatever you're looking for is in your backpack, so stop looking in your locker. Luke sighed as he realized Chris was right. He had put the notebook in his backpack before he had left his house. Chris had an uncanny ability to point things out like this to Luke. It was both helpful and frustrating. The bell rang loudly from directly over his locker and his head. Luke slammed his locker shut, his ears doing some ringing of their own. Yeah, it's 111113. Wait a minute, come on, let's go. I would say the Konami code, but I don't actually remember the Konami code that well. Is it the... Yeah, homeroom is up here. Just in time, Lucas. Please, take your seat. Lucas took his seat next to Chris in the back row. What if I didn't want to? Let me... Okay, no, I can't... Why? Let me... Okay. Good morning, class. Yeah, I know it's up, down, left, right, but I can never remember if it's A-B, A-B, or B-A-B-A. Mr. Takahata spoke enthusiastically with a very slight Japanese accent. Well, I'm also using controller. But I probably could just click it. How are you today? The homeroom class answered robotically with, okay. Yeah, that's also why I have the controller being displayed on stream as well, so that you can see what buttons are being pressed. The homeroom class answered robotically with "okay" and "not bad" and "eh," and other similar exclamations of apathy. Well, you're all mostly awake at least. Let's get started on attendance. Task spot? I'm a little dumb, I don't know what that is. You're all mostly awake at least. Let's get started on attendance. So what happened last night? Nothing happened. I told you nothing would happen. Nothing at all? Oh, yeah, no. I had someone think I was doing that because there is a fast forward button on controller that is significantly faster. But yeah, no, I don't use bots. Lucas briefly considered telling Chris about the voice and he thought he heard, but decided against it. He chalked it up to hearing things in the wind. Then he thought about falling in the mud. Chris definitely didn't need to know about that. His thoughts drifted to the serene qualities of the scene instead. Or not scene, stream. Dyslexia hitting hard right now. The stream was kind of pretty, with like the moon reflecting in it, but nothing interesting happened. That sounds poetic, but yeah, I guess I didn't really expect to see anything. Well, you were pretty insistent that I waste precious sleep on this. Okay, I'm back. uh, hey man, if you thought you saw what I thought you saw, you would have been the same way. I'm not clicked into the game. Egg, eggplant. What? Okay. Here. Oh, I forgot that's what his last name was. Chris's last name could bring the house down some mornings. Chris just sighed. Edelman? Yeah. A student towards the front spoke up. Jordan's still missing. Of course, my mistake. I'm sorry. I know we're all worried about him. Luke looked down at his notebook as the mood in the classroom became awkward. He hadn't known Jordan well, but when you have a school with only 150 odd students, it was hard not to know everyone in your class, at least tangentially. English is hard. The poster in the hallway was hardly necessary, a grim reminder of something no one had forgotten. Lucas overheard part of another student's gossip. I swear I saw him at the creek. See, I'm not the only one. Loringer? Here. Jordan had been missing for a little over a month at first. The students and faculty alike had assumed he had simply been skipping class. But word got around eventually that his parents had reported him missing. Now, not a week went by without someone claiming they had seen Jordan. Thread Creek was a small town, and rumors tended to spread like wildfire. A juicy story like this one had no chance of staying safe from rampant speculation and heresy. Or hearsay, not heresy. Heresy. Attendance proceeded as usual. Aside from Jordan, no one else was absent that day, which was a minor miracle. Okay, everyone, let's stand up for the morning announcements and Pledge of Allegiance. The class rose in chatter, of squeaky chair legs, apathetic sighs, and the low murmuring of conversation. The din of casual chatter continues as the old PA system crackled to life. You're fine, Rewind. I am stumbling hard on some of these words, but we ballin'. Good morning. Good morning. I'm Sarah Adams, and these are your morning announcements. Sarah enjoys this a little too much. Yeah, sounds like she's not the only. Sounds like she's on the news or something. Sarah had been trying to get the morning PA assistant for the entire junior year, but the position was usually reserved for seniors. When she applied for the position the first month of their senior year, she beat out all other applications easily. Or applicants, my bad. She had secured the role for herself for the rest of the academic year. Who could imagine the exact expression on Sarah's face? Even though he had never been present for any of her morning readings, he had seen her practicing her announcer's voice. If anything, her smile would be wider now with a real audience. And lunch today will be pepperoni pizza. As for club and activities sign-ups, the following sports teams are accepting applications after school today. The announcement continued, but Luke wasn't paying any attention. When the Pledge of Allegiance started, he put his hand over his heart and mouthed the words without actually saying anything. Instead, his mind churned with visions of the trig test that awaited him, which he was fairly confident he would be passing. The bell sounded, and Luke hurried to run from the trig test. He was now certain he had failed. Mr. Loringer? Luke flinched and stopped in his tracks. Mr. Eckhart was a very involved teacher, and when Luke's grades had swung from A's to C's, from algebra to trig, he had taken it as a personal challenge to fix the downward trend. Come see me for a minute, please. Now, Lucas. Luke steeled himself for another one of Mr. Eckhart's long-winded, ambitious, and rambling lectures, which he had seemed to think would help Luke somehow, but instead it just made him lose 10 to 5 minutes of his lunch period. He meant well, though, so Luke never had the heart to run off. Well, I've only glanced at your test, but I can already tell you struggle with it. Sorry, big yawn. Now I understand that your home life is tough. Luke had heard this one before. His father was a single parent who worked around the clock to support himself and Luke. But he wouldn't describe his home life as tough or bad. Maybe just lonely. In fact, things have gotten better since Luke started a part-time job on the weekends. But I just don't see how your performance could slip so far in just one semester. Look, Mr. Eckhart, I just have a hard time with trig. It's the memorization that gets me. Mr. Eckhart nodded thoughtfully as he appeared to consider Luke's words carefully, even though Luke had told him exactly this for weeks. He never seemed to believe it, though, and always came back to his stressful and difficult home life as Luke's real problem. It was as if Luke not having a knack for trig was an impossibility. Okay, Lucas, I'm giving you this test back. Take it home and write out exactly where and why you got your answers wrong. But don't change what you have right now. I'll know if you do. I'll be able to give you some credit back for the effort. Luke nodded and accepted the test, eager to get to lunch and excited about possibly salvaging his test score. Have it back to me on Monday, and I will And we'll talk again. I'm doing this because I know you're smarter than your grades show. And you have it rough enough as it is. Luke started edging away, hoping he wouldn't go on. Yeah, go on to repeat his speech about how he had it the same way as a kid, and now he understands what he's going through. It's not that he wasn't grateful for Mr. Eckhart's help and understanding. He had just heard it all dozens of times before. He felt a little guilty every time Mr. Eckhart described his childhood, which was doubtlessly much harder than Luke's. Thanks. Also, he had skipped breakfast. He was starving. Okay, Luke, get to lunch. I can hear your stomach rumbling from here. Luke practically sprinted down the hall towards the cafeteria. If he got there soon, maybe there would be some pizza left. We'll save there. Luke sat down next to Chris with a tray full of lasagna. Almost unironically said lasagna. Luke sat down next to Chris with a tray full of lasagna that had looked more like soup than baked pasta. Uh-oh. Okay. The old wooden cafeteria table creaked and groaned as he settled onto his seat. He looked envious at the pizza on Chris's tray. Hey man, you snooze, you lose. Fair enough, jerk. Hey guys. He's awake at least. Complete sentences and everything. Sarah just waved her mouth. Her mouth was full of pizza. Hey, why do you why do you bother telling us that you're having pizza for lunch? Every Friday is pizza day. Luke stuck a fork into his lasagna soup. It broke apart when he tried to lift it to his mouth and fell back to his tray with a splash. Luke sighed. Because she likes to hear herself talk. Hey, don't take your pizza deprivation out on me. It's an honor to announce the arrival of Pepper's Pizza? Is that right? Have I been saying pepperoni? Yeah, it was almost immediately. 'Cause I've had that happen to me a number of times when I was in school. I used to get pulled out of like after class quite a lot. So it's like, yeah, no, that sounds about right. Pepper's was a local pizza business that made an excellent product. They also gave steep discounts to the school every Friday as a sort of charity offering. It was the only decent meal Threads Creek High offered. Oh, sorry, a big yawn again. Other days' lunches were not nearly as good. For example, gray mystery meat, a la lumpy gravy or broccoli, and grease. The lasagna soup was a new one, though. Luke reached for a spoon instead. It was far more effective at transporting the watery sauce, but the meal tasted almost as bad as it looked. After the last of the spoonfuls slithered down the back of his throat, he acquiesced. Sorry, I don't have time to eat breakfast this morning. I slept in after being out so late last night. I'm bitchy. What? You didn't really go to the creek at midnight, did you? I didn't think I'd find anything, and I didn't. But I made Chris a promise. Hey, it's not like I'm the only one who thought he saw the ghost. Lots of people have claimed to have claimed to. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't, or I wasn't seeing things. This Jordan ghost rumor is ridiculous. We don't even know what happened to him. He might have ran away or something, I don't know. But there's no way he actually died. Or haunting the creek or whatever. So you didn't see anything at all? You sure? Nothing unless you count a bunch of mud and weeds. Well, that settles that. Now for the next order of business. I want to... Not so fast! I've heard for the last 5 different people that they definitely saw something. Okay, well, Luke just told us he didn't find anything. What else can we do? Sarah looked at Dan mischievously. Oh no, no way. I'm not ruining a light of sleep to go look at weeds. What are you, chicken? Afraid of a ghost? Or just afraid of being wrong? Neither, I just don't want to waste my time. Well, that's too bad, because we're all going tonight. Tonight? Yes, tonight. We'll go to Chris's house and stay the night. I'll tell my parents I'm going to... Kathy's? She'll cover for me. Your parents are still on that trip, right? Well, yes, but... Then it's settled. We meet at Chris's house, tonight. And we go to the creek at midnight to see for ourselves. Chris, you're not really agreeing to go along with this, are you? Actually, yeah. Let's go. I want to look again for myself. My parents will be gone all weekend. Then it's double settled. Luke, tell me you aren't going along with this. You were there already. You know there's nothing to see. Luke considered going back out when he was already half asleep at noon. Then he considered spending another night at home alone. I'm exhausted, but I don't really have anything better to do. My dad is probably working late again. Alright then, my house. Let's say around 9? I'll have snacks. Fine, let's do this, I guess. And done and done. A cold lunch kid. I at least in high school, from what I can remember, I would always go to an off-campus thing around lunchtime. So I had like maybe 15 minutes to eat. So I just kind of got what I could and shoved it down my gullet. Now, as I tried to say before, I'm trying out for the football team. Really? You? His skepticism was earned. Chris was skinny. It was skinny as a stick. He was also on the shy side and had never once played for any sports team. Hey, if he wants to, let him. I think it's great that he wants to try. I'm not gonna stop you, I mean... I'm not gonna stop you, man. I just don't think you have the build for it. No offense. Luke slurped more lasagna soup. He didn't really want a part of this one. But Dan was right. It was just genetics. Dan was on the team, but he was big for his age. Chris was, well, not so much. Well, maybe you're right. Football might be a bad choice. How about the soccer team? Or basketball? Tall guy? Chris was the tallest of the 4 of us. Yeah, by the time I started my sophomore year, uh, for the people that weren't going to an off-campus school, like, freshmen weren't allowed to go off-campus because, like, for multiple years before that, they were caught doing drugs and drinking alcohol. So they said, y'all have abused it. Also, a lot of them were stealing from like the Walmart that was right next door. So they said, no one's allowed to do that anymore. Chris was the tallest of all four of them, and maybe one of the tallest students in general. I think basketball would be a good fit. Maybe. Sarah started to open her mouth when the bell rang, signaling the end of lunch period. Chris immediately stood and headed for the door without a word. Hey, don't be a jerk. You know it's hard for him to come out and say stuff like that. Yeah, well, he needs a thicker skin. If this if this really got to him that much, you should apologize. Luke practically sleepwalked through the sleepwalked? Yeah. Through the rest of his school day. He stayed awake on the bus ride home through sheer willpower. Luke leapt from his seat as soon as the bus stopped and hopped out onto his lawn. The lasagna soup had not been effective in filling his stomach. He had been eagerly anticipating raiding his refrigerator and pantry for the entire day. Luke and his father lived in an old, modest brick house that stood at the very edge of the town of Threads Creek. The lawn was well maintained, but the farmland encroached on it from all sides kept it small. Luke pulled out his key ring as he approached the front door. In his haste to ascend the front porch, his key slipped from his hand and hit the old cement with a loud clink. Today is not my day. Agreed. He scooped the keys back up and drove the house key into the lock. I don't think I've ever read or heard it described as that. Dad, I'm home. Luke's home was silent in response. The house Lucas shared with his father was a modest one on the inside. Yeah, on the inside adds one of the oldest. Or, fucking hell, I can't read. The house Lucas shared with his father was as modest on the inside as on the outside. The furniture was mismatched, worn in, and secondhand, but well cared for. The house was as clean as a high school student who worked weekends and an overworked single father could manage, which is to say, clean, with a moderate amount of clutter and disorganization. There was a note on the refrigerator door. Luke working late tonight. Help yourself to leftovers or something else if you feel like cooking. I won't be home until at least 10. Friday was supposed to be his father's only early weekend, or weekday, but he hadn't been home before 9 the last 3. He felt bad for him, but the rumbling in his stomach would not be denied. He threw the fridge door open with a little more force than he probably should have, and quickly scanned its contents. He grabbed a chicken breast wrapped in foil and a bottle of barbecue sauce. Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce. 10 minutes later, he sat on the living room sofa, dipping the entire chicken breast Right? Yeah, dipping the entire chicken breast by hand into a small pool of sauce. The TV babbled at the other end of the room. He flipped through the channels with his other hand, but didn't feel like watching anything in particular. The chicken was the best he had ever tasted, despite the slight tin aftertaste and the cold center. After he cleaned up his mess and turned off the TV, Luke climbed up the stairs to the second floor. The old hardwood steps creaked and groaned as he ascended the staircase with his backpack in hand. Was it not in there before? Oh, okay. I guess I didn't notice that change. A TV is real and it can hurt you. Oh, okay. The sun had begun to dip below the horizon, and golden light leaked through the window at the top of the stairs. Luke walked down the short hallway and opened his door. Unlike the rest of Luke's home, his room was sparse. Luke didn't care to decorate his room much, and the walls lay mostly bare. Luke sat cross-legged on his bed and unzipped his backpack. He reached inside for his trig book and notebook. The heavy textbook seemed to look back at Luke with disdain as he opened it up, good lord, and set it on his lap. Luke flipped through the pages until he reached the chapter the class was working on. He reread the sections covered by the exam for what felt like the 100th time. Okay. Yeah, and I was like, I played the earlier versions. I just, like, my brain was like, oh, that TV's always been there. After filling another page with scribbled... Yeah, okay. Is that how you spell formula? That doesn't look right. But I'm assuming it is. After filling another page with scribbled formula, he called it at night. He called it a night. He slammed the textbook shut and placed it on his nightstand, along with his notebook. He glanced at the clock over his door at 6:34. It's actually not too different from the time that it is right now. I still have some time to kill. I should probably take a nap if I'm gonna go out again tonight. I think we all already know the choice that I'm gonna pick. Oh, so is it formulae, not formula? I always thought it was formulas for the plural. I want you all to know English is my first language. I'm just struggling. Lucas fell asleep as soon as his head hit the pillow. Sometimes Lucas was a girl in his dreams. I pressed the wrong button. It was a sunny school day, and it was time for recess. The only thing to decide was how to play. What are we gonna play? Let's play basketball. I want to play with the lemonade stand. How do you play with the lemonade stand? We can do both. Okay. Basketball first. Okay, fine. Let's do boys versus girls. So I got a question for chat. If you do the other option, does he still say boys versus girls? Fair enough. I have no idea what I was just dreaming about, but I feel content. Luke stretched and looked forward. Yeah, looked towards the window. It had gotten dark outside. I better get going. Luke grabbed an adhesive note from the pad he kept on his nightstand and scribbled out a quick message to his father about where he was going. He grabbed a sweater from his dresser, headed out through headed out through his bedroom door and down the stairs. He stuck the note on the fridge next to his father's. Going back out to the creek was not how he wanted to spend his only night off. It had seemed like a slightly inconvenient idea at lunch, but now it seems downright awful. Despite the nap, he was still exhausted. All he wanted to do was sleep. He picked the phone up from the kitchen counter. Was there supposed to be more to that? No, okay. He stared at the handset in his right hand. His sweater still clutched in his left for a minute or two. He considered canceling on his friends, tearing the note off the fridge and falling asleep before 9. He dialed Chris's number. It only rang 3 times before he answered. Yeah, that's kind of why I was like, if chat knows. Tell me about it. Hello, eggplant residents. Hey Chris, I'm leaving now. I should be there in at about 9. Sounds good, dude. See you then. The eggplants lived in a large old house just outside town proper, where the farmlands near town gave way to natural fields and wooded areas. And the pit. Oh goddamn. Sorry. And the pavement. Yeah, natural was in wooded areas, and the pavement to give way to dirt roads. Chris's parents were both type A business go-getters, sorry, who left Chris alone for business trips more often than they didn't. They did, however, make a fair bit of money. Although old, the house verged on being a manor. The yard sprawled for several acres in 3 directions. The garage was a large 2-car affair that was directly connected to the house. Luke pedaled up the long driveway where Chris's parents' luxury cars only occasionally rested. The garage door was open, and Luke could see his friends' bikes within it. By the look of it, Luke would be the last to arrive. Luke jumped off his bike and walked to the short remaining distance down the perfectly smooth asphalt. He rushed his bike by his friends and knocked on the door that led into the house. Good lord, I got like 5 pings. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, welcome, sup, Luke. What took you? Luke yawned the second wind he had gotten from the bike ride already wearing off. What time is it? Reach past Luke's shoulder and hit the garage button, the heavy door screeching a little as it closed. Only 9:15, so I'll let it slide this time. The inside of the eggplant's house was immaculate. Everything was put away neatly in a designated space. And the appliances were all modern and expensive. So guys, where are we heading for the creek? Or when are we heading for the creek? Okay. Oh god, is it really delayed that much? Alrighty. Goodbye, computer cat. It's not even 9:30 yet. And I want to hear how the b-ball tryouts went. Oh yeah, I want to know too. Well, the coach well, the coach told me that I have natural talent. Yeah, you do, tall guy. But I need to work a lot on my fundamentals. He's considering me for the team. That's what he said anyway. I'm not super confident of my chances. Sounds like you've got a real chance of getting on board to me. Yeah, there are more tryouts coming anyway. I'll definitely keep trying. Anyways, what are we doing to pass the time until midnight? I guess we have some time to kill. You could always take advantage of the wonderful big screen we have here. Sure, what do you guys want to watch? How about a movie? Good idea. A movie will put us at about the perfect time to leave for the creek. Besides, I know just what we can watch. She plucked her cherry red backpack off the floor and began rummaging through it, through its contents, excitedly. Wait, you just carry movies along with you all the time? Ta-da! Black Depths 2. Of course, it's a B-horror movie. Why did I expect anything different? I'm down. It's thematically appropriate. They all settled into their seats as the movie started. Lucas was very thankful for how comfortable the couch was. He was still a bit tired, and sinking into the couch felt amazing. The swamp before Luke began to bubble and steam as the creature made its way to the surface. Luke found himself unable to move his legs. He turned to Chris, who started blinking. Blanking? Or who stared blankingly at the swamp. Chris, help! Can't you see it coming? Hey, yo. Luke screamed at him, but still only stared. Dan teased Luke from somewhere out of sight. Come on, Luke, you can take that thing. Be a man. Dan caught the football and ran off to the sound of a cheering crowd. Dan's too busy winning the game for us. There has to be something I can do. The monster emerged from the water, a horrible lobster-like thing covered in seaweed. Both its maw and its claws made snapping sounds as they opened and closed. As the monster approached, Lucas noticed that one of its crustacean-like legs was missing. This could be an opening to handle the creature. Lucas felt sorry for it and tried to talk to it. Whoa there, buddy. You're just upset because of your injury, aren't you? The monster stopped at the edge of the water and peered at Lucas. It seemed to be calming down. It's okay, I'm not gonna hurt you. The monster changed as Lucas spoke to it, its features taking on dog-like qualities. Chitin became fur. Is it chitin or chitin? Luke, Chris, we're safe. Or look, not Luke. But I didn't make the team. It's not so bad. Who wants to be a bulky football player anyway? I do, don't you? Suddenly, the monster-turned dog barked with Sarah's voice. Wake up! It's over! Wake up! Luke startled into wakefulness. Dan's and Chris's laughter mixed with the soundtrack playing over the movie's credits. You missed the best parts of the movie. Sometimes I can't believe you. Lucas quickly changed the subject. Well, time to go, everyone. Yes! Let's get rolling, people. Yeah, let's get this over with. Chris was the last to leave. He flicked the living room lights off and locked the door from the garage side. His friends had already grabbed their bikes and were heading for the opposite end of the garage. I feel like it's gonna become that, like, GIF, GIF, or YIF. Chris punched the big garage door button, and the metal doors scraped and clattered as they began to rise. Lead the way, Luke. No problem. So, funny thing about that, if I remember correctly, the creator of that format is German or something, and technically, the way it would be pronounced with the accent would be YIF. Luke shook off the grasp of sleep as the cold air and exertion did their job getting his blood flowing. It was a good 20-minute ride to the wider stretch of thread, where the creek might more accurately be called a river. Thread winded gradually from 5 feet across to nearly 50 feet as the gang approached the infamous spot where most of the ghost sightings had occurred. Luke slowed to a stop as his friends followed suit. For just a moment, as he dismounted his bike, he felt something was off. But the feeling quickly went away. I guess I didn't say it before because I pressed the wrong button. Yeah, it's like, I don't remember exactly how it was, but I know, like, whenever a lot of people figured out how, like, the original creator said it, they were all like, nope, that's not how you say it. Yeah, I thought I had saved, but I guess I pressed the wrong button. Also, for context, if you see me looking over to the side while reading, it's because my camera, for the tracking, covers part of it. I could, I guess, do that, do that, and it'd be fine. Yeah, like right about there, give or take. And then, here, properties, specific window. Aha! Yeah, so I do kind of have to do it like that. Oops. Evolution of language. Oh, what was it? So here we are. Now what? Well, I guess we look around. You guess? Is no one else at all excited by the prospect of seeing a real ghost? Well, so I actually have, um, I can do, huh? Well, so yeah, fun thing with apparently threads, as I just realized, if I go to, I have to do window capture, not game capture, because it is Chromium based. Yeah, and then with that, I can do that. Yeah, because doing. Okay, there we go. I'm actually going to do that. That should be fine. Yeah. Yeah, I actually have it just like default. It's on one of my other scenes as well. That's I had to do some funky stuff to get the like blurred stuff. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and this way, other than chat, you shouldn't have a whole lot of the stuff blocking it. There we go. I could not think of the word for it. Is no one? Yeah, okay, I read that. Oh, it's exciting. At least it would be if it were a possibility. Ah. Hey guys, look over here. Footprints. Aha! Aha, what? That proves exactly nothing. Yeah, but. Okay. So they probably don't mean anything. But don't tell me you want to leave already. I think I've made my position on this whole adventure pretty clear. My throat's getting dry from all the yapping. I have not yapped this long consistently for a minute. Oh, also my foot fell asleep. I think I've made. Yeah, okay, I already read that. How long did you spend out here when you came, Luke? Probably around 20 minutes. 20 minutes? What did you do for 20 minutes? Luke recalled laying in the mud the night before. He scratched the back of his head, embarrassed. Colored, embarrassed, colored his cheeks slightly before he responded. Well, the moon and the water. The, well, that's a lot of ands. Well, the moon and the water and the stars were kinda, pretty. So I guess I just zoned out for a while. See, Dan, it's not boring out here. Can't you just appreciate nature? Pretty stars? I mean, I guess. Anyway, I want to. I went to a spot further ahead. Well, let's take a look. Gamun. I spent most. I spent the most time here. I mean, I guess it's pretty, but boring. Man, you just don't appreciate stars. Space is beyond pretty. The surface of the water rippled gently around the moon's reflection, as if framing it. The night was mostly silent, but not entirely. A slight breeze stirred and rustled the tall weeds that dotted the riverbank. Insects chirped, and somewhere in the distance, an owl hooted. The water itself made quite lapping sounds as it flowed downstream. Time passed as the scene played out gently before them. And there we have it. Can we go now? Not a chance. Sarah walked away in a huff. Luke started turning to follow when something odd caught his eye in the almost still waters. You really could just leave, you know. It's not like I'm physically keeping you here. Seriously considering it. Where are you even going? His friend's argument drifted to him through the night air, but he wasn't paying attention to them. As Luke stared, something round and white appeared beneath the surface of the thread. It almost seemed to glow, not a reflective kind of glow, but that of a genuine light source. I don't know, somewhere without the sound of constant complaining floating through the air. Come on, guys, this is supposed to be fun. Who cares if we actually find a ghost or not? Guys? I care. The sphere breached the surface of the water, making no ripples as it did so. It wasn't a perfect sphere, though. It was roughly head-shaped, and it was attached to something roughly shaped like a pair of shoulders. Guys, look at that damn water! Yeah. As the figure continued rising to the surface. Yeah, hey bud, don't don't post links. Don't try to fucking yeah. You're timed out, but don't post links unless you have explicit permission. If you do it again after you're timed out, you will be banned from chat. As the figure continued raising to the surface, its yeah, its inherent glow started to seduce or to subside. Darker features emerged from the glow. One darker blotch resolved itself into the shape of hair. Two others became what looked like eyebrows. Although the rest of the figure was dimming, the spots were where the eyes should have been still shone a fuzzy white. It floated there, not moving, while Sarah, Dan, Chris, and Luke stared at it. The face of the figure seemed to peer at nothing, looking slightly downward into the water. Jordan? Rewind. You might have to remind me. Was that description in there before, and I just forgot about it? For one moment, it was unmoving, looking into the water. The next, its face was directly in front of Sarah. She took a step backwards in the mud. This is Sarah. As Luke turned away from the water, his foot got caught in the muddy ground again. This time, in his haste, he fell face first into the mud. I told you it was dangerous here. Well, why did you return? Luke spat out a mouthful of mud and wiped his eyes clear. Get up and run. They're here. Hooded figures. That was not the model that was for them, I don't think. Hooded figures held each of Lucas's friends. Luke could just barely make out the glint of knives in the moonlight. What the hell? Where did they come from? What's happening? Wait, I can see through them? Okay, I thought so. Not that, not that way. Yeah, not that way. Into the trees. Your friends. You can't help them. I can't just leave them. Okay. But you can leave them. They are already lost. You would simply share their fate if you stayed. Run! They've seen you. There were only seconds before the cloaked form would close the distance. Then everything stopped moving. The figure stood still. Jeez. The figure stood still. Mid-stride, the weeds and trees stopped waving in the wind, which Lucas could no longer hear. Why did you refuse to... Hi, Izzy! What are you doing back already? I'm playing a game made by Be Kind Rewind. It is a indie game made by one person that I have been following, so I figured I'd play at least the first chapter on stream for today. Combat has not happened yet, though it is soon to be happening. Luke tried to reply, but his mouth wouldn't work. He tried to move his feet and hands, but they didn't respond. Luke's panic rose from a fever pitch. He knew he would be hyperventilating if he wasn't paralyzed. Luke tried to scream, but couldn't. Calm yourself. You don't have much time, and fear will make you stupid. Luke took a mental deep breath. Wait, can this thing hear my thoughts? Yes, I am here. A shimmering mist appeared in front of Luke. It took the vague outline of a woman. Woman. Chat, we got her. Ooh, chicken pot pie actually sounds pretty good. A shimmering mist appeared in front of Luke. It took, the vague outline of a woman and lifted an arm to point directly at Luke's temple. You're in my head? Why? How? What's happening? In order, yes, to aid you. And you're spiritually compatible with me. And something terrible. You can pause time? No, but I am in your thoughts. And thoughts move very quickly. Are you some kind of ghost or witch? The mist woman didn't respond immediately. Instead, it seemed to be staring with increasing intensity at Luke. Whatever you are, can you help us? The figure lifted its hand to its chin and tilted its head thoughtfully. Then it seemed to gasp in surprise. How can this be? You have a peener! You're a male! What the fuck are you talking about? You are a male, and yet I may be able to help you. Whatever you can do, please help. I can give you power. Thoughts of evil fairies and demons from mythology and fiction sprung into Luke's mind. Immediately, he thought about how they always offered something incredible, and that there was always a price. I am neither demon nor fairy. Temptress. Lucas, my offer comes with no loss of free will, though I will ask for your help in return. You, of course, may simply decline. What kind of power? Suddenly, the previously frozen figure started moving again, moving slowly, very slowly, but still moving. We are reaching the limits of this moment. I do not have time to... I don't know how to say that word. Oh, satiate. Haha. Your curiosity. I can only warn you that I have never before entrusted my power to a male. It has never been possible. There may be consequences, ones that I cannot foresee. Luke focused on the slow motion the slow motion runner, and thought of his friends behind him. He had no idea what this thing could possibly mean by consequences, but he had made up his mind. I accept the risk. Very well. The misty form walked towards and into Lucas. His skin began to glow with a soft, multicolored light. Lucas felt a cold tingle sensation course throughout his body. His body hair soon stood on end. In an instant, the mud splattered on his body spontaneously flew from him, making a soft, pattering sound all around him. Lucas yelled as his body began moving on his own. His right hand whipped in front of his face. Trailing in a fine, cool mist, he watched as the mist solidified into something halfway between a sword and an icicle. My name is Aurora. Allow me to guide you. Oh my... Rewind. Is the color choice because her name is Aurora? As in, like, Aurora Borealis? Or is that sheer coincidence? And then here's battle. Using the mouse to move attack. Other way around. Her color is because of her name. Oh. Yeah, you can, yeah. That's all just that stuff. Start battle. See if I remember how to do this. Oh, it has arrows showing you. No, you're good. This is a very underrated indie game that is still very early in development. There, I believe. Yeah, there it is. Oh, I'm being dumb. Here. Magic. Ice. You. Confirm. Oh, the damage text is smaller. The woman screamed as blood began to spray from her concealed face. She crumbled to the ground. Holy shit. More of them! The three figures holding Lucas's friends dropped their burdens and ran towards Lucas. He has the Guardian! Kill him! Extra movement? Is there extra movement? Try not to Yeah, okay. Oh shit, no. Like no. Wait. Try not to override me by speaking... Try not to override me by speaking at this time. You will interfere with my ability to fight. Oh, whack! Okay. Rutro Raggy. Let's go here. And then... Magic. Did I just say overkill? Huh. Okay. I'm going to assume then that, like... Oh! Oh, I see! I think. I only have one eye, but I think I see. I didn't kill you? Yeah, I remember reading the dev notes for that. Also, I do appreciate the health bar in world now, rather than just being on like in the menu. They just disappeared. There was so much blood. Where did they go? They are not real. When they are destroyed, they vanish. They weren't real? I don't understand. How is this possible? You must have many questions. They will have to wait. We must leave before more of them arrive. Fair enough. Wait, my friends! Yeah. Are you guys okay? Lucas's friends wearily stood up. Luke couldn't see any cuts or other wounds on them. Once on their feet, they all turned to stare open-mouthed at him. What the hell was that? I'm honestly not even sure, but we can talk later. We need to get out of here. Sarah, Dan, and Chris all looked terrified, but they nodded in agreement. The four of them remounted their bikes and oh yeah, pedaled. I'm being dumb. Bikes and pedaled quickly down the path along Thread Creek. Luke stayed slightly ahead of the pack for a good mile and stopped only to catch his breath. He rested his bike in the grass and bent over, placing his hands on his knees, gulping air. The others stopped as well, laying their bikes beside Luke's. The sound of panting filled the otherwise peaceful night air. Luke regained his breath and turned to his friends to speak, but Sarah spoke first. Tear streaks covered her cheeks, where color, or yeah, tears streaked covered her cheeks, which were colored red from exertion. That was really hard for me to read for some reason. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm so sorry. It looked like she had more to say, but instead her features scrunched up in a look of fear and regret. She covered her face with her hands, and more tears dang it, flowed between her fingers as a combination of sobs and gasps for breath overtook her. Dan put his hands on Sarah's shoulders. Hey, it's not your fault. How could you have possibly known this would have happened? Sarah just shook her head in response, her face still in her hands. He's right. No one's hurt, Sarah. We'll all be okay. As the sound of their panting died down, the burbling of the thread started to become audible. The normally relaxing sound was now an ominous one. Dan let go of Sarah and addressed the group. Let's get the hell out of here. Dan turned to Lucas. Then you need to tell us what the hell that was. Would you guys come to my place? I really don't want to be left alone right now. Good idea. The road was remaining They rode the remaining distance to Chris's house in silence, Luke's eyes constantly darting back and forth from the road ahead to the narrowing creek beside him. The gentle waters looked sinister now. He tried to prod Aurora into speaking with his thoughts, but only got silent in response. As the eggplant's house approached from the distance, Luke's heart rate finally began to slow down. He felt even better once the huge metal doors of the garage hit the ground, with a reassuring thud. They all blew out a sigh of relief. So, like, that actually happened, right? Yeah, yeah, that happened. Let's just get inside. Luke could hear Chris's fumbling nervously with the keys. Or Luke could hear Chris fumbling nervously with his keys for a long moment before the doorhouse swung open. The light was off in the living room, but Chris turned it on and all the other lights on the first floor. While Chris hunted for light switches, Sarah, Luke, and Dan collapsed on the couches in the living room. Time to save. So who's for a slumber party in the living room? Dan spoke with a forced cheer in his voice. Luke raised his hand. Sarah said nothing, already lying down on her chosen sofa. Sarah, it's all right. We're safe now. At first, I was just really scared. Well, we all were, or I still am. But I could feel it. It was Jordan for sure. That was his voice. I knew it. Or I just knew it. He's gone. She trailed off, looking down at her hands. Chris came back then, carrying more blankets and pillows than should have been possible. I heard something about a slumber party? Chris dumped the blankets on a pile on the floor and took a seat. Then Chris and Dan turned to the elephant in the room. First off, thanks for saving us. Luke, secondly, what the fuck? You know how to use a sword? Where did you even hide it until then? I don't know. There was this voice that spoke to me, and it offered me... It was like something out of a movie. I assure you, I am real. Aurora's shimmering form stepped out from Lucas. Sarah looked up for the first time. Chris and Dan stared. My name is Aurora. I am a spirit of ice, cold, and the greater north. You must all have so many questions. I can maintain this form only briefly, so listen closely to me. I am bound to Lucas. His mind was compatible with me, and he allowed me in. I have given him power in exchange for giving me a vessel. The form you saw were shades, entities created when a person is ritually sacrificed. What about the ghost we saw? It looked completely different from those shades. By its appearance, it was a young shade, unbound to its creator's will. Yet, it is still the product of death. Sarah curled herself into the couch. I am afraid that I must ask for your assistance in this matter. I do not know who is responsible for creating these shades, but it is my duty to oppose them. Me? How can I possibly help? You are now a vessel for my power. I will need your assistance to accomplish anything, until we are separated again. Unfortunately, guiding you as I did tonight has left me exhausted. You will need to lend in the future. You'll need to lead in the future. Combined with the effort of performing this projection, I will soon lay dormant within for you? I think I found a typo. I will soon lay dormant within for you for some time. Wait, what? What do we do now? Please stay away from that place. It is dangerous for reasons unknown to me, and I will be unable to help until I reawaken. I can no longer maintain this form. Please forgive me for my limitations. When I awaken within Lucas again, I will answer questions as my knowledge allows. That night changed things. At first, Lucas and his friends would do little but talk about what happened. Then a month went by, then another. Nothing out of the ordinary happened. They thought of the night less and less. Did it even really happen? Did they just all exaggerate it in their minds? As graduation approached, the friend group started drifting apart. Sarah was the first to fall out of touch. She fell down a rabbit hole trying to solve the mystery of Jordan's disappearance. Dan focused more heavily on football, trying to earn sports scholarships. Chris focused so intently on his studies that he rarely left his house other than to go to class. Lucas picked up more shifts at the video game rental store. He needed extra money to help with the household expenses and to save for college. After graduation, Chris moved away to attend a well regarded state university. Dan and Sarah both started attending the local community college. Dan earned his full ride. Dan earned his full ride sports scholarships. Lucas took a gap year to save more money. His father was incredibly proud of how hard he was working. They eventually put enough money to send Lucas to the dorms to start attending classes. Lucas finally had his own place for the first time. He eagerly finished putting away the last few items of his moving boxes.